This one episode has quite a lot of different things going for it. Let's dissect this episode like a frog. The opening scene just emphasizes how much Daffy is a sociopathic jerk.
You're a sociopath? You're probably a psychopath.
That clip was from a different episode, just so you know. Lola calls about breaking her leg and has one crazy story she tells Bugs when he gets there. Lola acts all nonchalant when Bugs gets here, but was really upset on the phone. That is bipolar for you. I would know. I was diagnosed with it. Her story takes so long to explain, and a lot of crazy things happened. Her trying to rescue a baby on top of a building. She crashed through a window, jumps into an elevator shaft. Then the baby turns out to be a crow, falls 15 stories after fighting that crow, lands safely on an inflated gorilla, and all this was pointless because she sprained her leg getting on top of the doctor's table. That sounds like quite a day. I'm not going to ask her how she is ever if I run into her. I'd get an essay worth of things that didn't matter to meet a word count like it was an actual essay. Daffy ends up going to Porky's place because of the story on the news. He thinks that Porky is a criminal. They are so ridiculous there are so ridiculous coincidences, but Daffy still falls for them like a middle schooler falls for his crush. I mean, Daffy doesn't even remember 911. You always gotta remember 9/11, but no, the number 911 is literally said out loud. How can you forget it? I like it how Daffy acts so frightened by seeing Porky, and Porky still asks him if he's feeling alright. Like, you don't understand. Being startled is one thing, but Daffy just completely loses his mind, and Porky thinks it's no big deal. Lola seriously asked for milk when she was allergic to it, and said she asked for water when she never did. The stupidity of Lola and Daffy? Oh boy, it's gonna be that way for this episode. Lola decides to parkour a building and risk her life multiple times, so I'll give her the crown right now, but oh boy, just wait. Daffy falls deeper and deeper into insanity. Not gonna lie, I've been this paranoid before, so it's a little harder to laugh at, because I've been there before, but they play it off as stupidity and not a manic episode. And why would Daffy have any reason to believe Porky is a murderer? He's the last one to ever be a murderer. A lot of coincidences feeds Daffy's paranoia, but that's what you never assume. That's why you never assume anything, and to bring it up with the person involved. I learned that the hard way. Porky tells Daffy to not go into a room all sinister. Then he sees a shadow of Porky right into stab right into a treasure chest. Those things won't open, Porky. Then he pulls out a chainsaw, which, why do you need a chainsaw inside your house? It's gonna cause carbon monoxide poisoning if you keep at it. Porky then makes a sculpture of Daffy.
With a chainsaw!
Yes, that's right, Daffy. Meanwhile, Lola bought herself one of those stair lifts for the stairs like she's disabled. The doctor said she'll be on her feet again in 6 weeks. Lola doesn't know what pizza is, the most recognizable food out there, especially to Americans. Back to Daffy Duck opening the door. Porky told him not to. He has trouble with authority. Me too, bro. Me too. Then he sees all these pictures of him being hung, like it's the old days where you have to develop pictures that way. Kind of implies Porky's didn't want to use a smartphone and was making sure the government didn't want to see him take those photos. I don't know. How about this idea? He was making a collage of him, which he did. Wow. Ends up Daffy asked for the collage photos and sent these photos to Porky and completely forgot. Definitely gonna make it exaggerate. And all this is placed in a very, very good way of making horror films and stuff. It was phenomenal how they used horror tropes in this and made it funny. I laugh a dark sense of humor. I appreciate that. And Daffy's still not convinced after everything he's learned that those collage photos were for him and everything else I've said before. He beats up poor Porky and is still not convinced, so he tries to kill Porky by running him over. Daffy jumps over a woman in the car while he's driving that doesn't even realize it happened when he goes crazy on the wheel. You know, he does some other things, but didn't want to mention them. But I didn't want to mention them. Then Porky sets up a B-Day party, and after all that, he's disappointed that he missed out when Daffy found out about the party and everyone said surprise for him. That's just one heck of a guy. Daffy then thinks the door's unlocked because he can't open it. But he just doesn't know how to open the door. Reminds me of when Rigby from Regular Show was too lazy to open the door. At the end, the real suburban strangler, as this criminal was called, was captured, and Porky gave Daffy a well-deserved glare. Finally, some anger from the guy who could have gotten killed. Bugs then tells Daffy if anyone's gonna murder Daffy, it's Bugs. Hilarious. And, of course, Daffy loves the chairlift, being how lazy he is. Some questions I had was, again, how easy Daffy was let off for attempting to murder Porky. I know it's a cartoon, but this episode was a lot darker than I realized it was. It seemed realistic, and all this exaggeration contrasted with it. After watching the full thing, I can conclude that Daffy's paranoia was a lot more funny because how exaggerated it was and his stupidity along with that. There was no way I was going to give this idiot Daffy any more slack being his mental health. He was straight up nuts. Then again, I've been out of reality too with my schizoaffective bipolar, but this is just stupidity and it's different. Only once did Daffy stop to think that it was out of character for the most nicest pushover in the show to not be a murderer.
With a chainsaw!
Yeah, I get it. I mean, Lola risked her own life. Daffy attempted to murder Porky. Lola isn't that dumb, and Daffy isn't that much of a jerk. Or dumb. It just seems so exaggerated in this little show that seems so simple otherwise. A lot like Regular Show. They made a joke that was similar, like I said earlier, too. Brave Little Toaster has many technical flaws in its movie trilogy as well, but it's still my favorite series. I'm really impressed how they were able to balance those two things together and make a contrasting effect for comedy. So exaggerated that you just have to laugh, and you might want to check this one out for yourself. Link to the original cartoon in the description. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new. This channel is all about cartoons.
With a chainsaw!
And if you love cartoons, you'll love this channel. This has been Cartoon Central, where cartoons are meant for. Bye guys, thanks for watching, I appreciate it.